Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at AI.
Sounds exciting.
It is. I think it's going to be a really fascinating deep dive. We've got some really interesting source material to dig into today.
Okay.
We're going to be looking at excerpts from edX's Guide to AI Courses and a chapter from a book that doesn't actually have a name on it, but the chapter is called What is AI, really?
Interesting.
So we're going to try and go through all this stuff and really try to figure out what is AI?
Yeah.
Why is it such a big deal? And how is it impacting our lives already?
Well, it's interesting. AI, it's almost like a buzzword these days, isn't it? It feels like something out of science fiction.
Totally.
But in reality, it's way more present in our lives than we realize, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you know what? I bet you use AI every day without even really thinking about it.
I probably do, yeah.
So, but let's back up for a sec.
Right.
What actually is AI?
Yeah.
What are we even talking about here? It seems like both of our sources kind of agree that the core concept of AI is about simulating human intelligence.
Right.
In machines.
Yes.
So that's giving these machines the ability to, learn things and reason and solve problems, all of the things that we do.
Exactly. And I think what makes it so different from traditional software is that learning aspect.
Okay.
AI actually looks at information, processes data, learns from it, it finds patterns, and then uses that to get better at what it does.
Okay, so that's how Netflix knows what documentary I want to watch next.
Right, exactly. That's a great example.
Because the edX thing, it actually uses Netflix as an example of how AI is used to personalize your experience.
Right.
Which is, pretty slick when you think about it. It can really tailor those recommendations to your tastes.
Yeah.
But is that all there is to AI? Is that the be all and end all?
I think that's just one tiny little piece of a much bigger puzzle.
Huh.
AI, it's not just one thing.
Okay.
Yeah. It's this whole spectrum of capabilities.
Okay.
From simple tasks to stuff that hurts your brain to even think about.
Okay, so let's talk about the different types of AI then.
Okay.
Because our sources, they kind of break it down into a few categories. And they start with what they call narrow AI.
Right.
Or sometimes they call it weak AI. What is that?
So narrow AI, think of that as the AI workhorse.
Okay.
It's really good at doing specific jobs.
Okay.
But it's limited to those.
Yeah.
A really common example is your virtual assistant.
Okay, like Siri.
Siri or Alexa.
Right.
They're great at understanding what you're saying.
Yeah.
Doing what you ask, setting reminders, playing music.
Right.
But that's about as far as it goes.
Right.
You're not going to have a deep philosophical conversation with Siri.
Okay.
Probably. At least not yet.
So are there other examples of narrow AI that we might already be using?
Oh, absolutely. Tons.
Okay.
Think about Spotify, music recommendations,
okay,
or fraud detection systems in banking. These are all powered by narrow AI.
Okay, so narrow AI is all around us. It's already doing a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Now, on the complete opposite end of that spectrum, we have general AI.
Okay.
Which is sometimes called strong AI.
Strong AI, okay.
And this is where things get really interesting, almost philosophical.
So we're talking about machines that can do any intellectual task that a human can do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that even possible?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we start to, really enter science fiction territory a little bit.
Yeah.
Because general AI, it's still largely theoretical.
Okay.
We're not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it is this huge driver of research in AI. Everyone is trying to get to that point. And it definitely raises some big questions about what happens if we ever get to that point.
Okay, so we've got narrow AI, which is here and now and doing stuff.
Right.
We've got general AI, which is this big what if, this potential future thing.
Yes.
Is there anything beyond that?
Well, you've also got super intelligent AI.
Super intelligent AI.
Where machines aren't just as smart as humans, but they're smarter than us.
In everything.
In everything.
Wow.
So that's definitely getting into what if territory, and it's a big one.
Yeah.
What happens when AI is not just better than us at certain things, but actually just, smarter across the board.
That's a whole other, I think, a can of worms.
Yeah.
We could probably spend a whole deep dive just talking about that.
You probably could. Yeah.
But for now, I'm kind of curious about the history of AI.
Yeah.
Where did all this begin? Where did it all start?
Well, that What is AI Really chapter It actually gives a nice little timeline. And believe it or not, the story starts way back in the 1940s with this mathematician named Alan Turing.
Okay. Turing. That's the Turing test guy, right?
That's him.
The one who, like, imagined this machine that could, like, convince you that it was a human.
Exactly. And that was really groundbreaking because Turing essentially laid the groundwork for, like, modern computing.
Wow.
Which kind of sparked that whole field of AI. And then in 1956, you had this group of researchers who got together at this thing called the Dartmouth Conference.
Okay.
And that's where they actually officially used the term artificial intelligence for the first time.
Oh, wow.
So it was like the official birth announcement for AI as a field.
So that's the origin story.
Pretty much.
And from there, things just, like, exploded, right?
Well, it's been a fascinating journey, that's for sure. But it hasn't always been a straight line.
Okay.
Like in the 60s and 70s, there was so much excitement. Researchers were creating programs that could solve, like, really complex math problems. They even had programs that could beat humans at chess.
Oh, yeah. That was a big deal back then, right? Like computer beating a chess grandmaster.
Huge deal. But there were, limitations back then, especially with computing power.
Right.
And access to data.
Okay.
And that actually led to periods of, like, disillusionment with AI.
So, like, AI kind of went through these, like, dark ages.
Kind of, yeah. Some people call them, like, AI winters.
AI winters. Okay, so what changed?
Well, in the 80s and 90s, there was a major shift with the rise of machine learning.
Okay.
And this is where they started developing, these neural networks that we hear about.
Great.
These computer systems that are actually inspired by the structure of the human brain.
So wait, so machines started learning more like we do.
That's the idea.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it was a game changer. And then as we, entered the new millennium, things really accelerated.
Okay.
We had the explosion of data, this big data everyone talks about. Computers got way more powerful. Cloud computing came on the scene. And all that basically gave AI the fuel it needed to really take off.
So this is when we start seeing all those breakthroughs that, like, are all over the news today, right?
Exactly.
Things like deep learning and natural language processing.
Yeah.
Which, like, even a few decades ago, that stuff sounded like it was impossible.
Right.
And now it's, like, part of our lives.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how quickly things are changing.
It really is. And it seems like AI is, like, everywhere.
It is.
I mean, we've been talking about it in these, like, big abstract terms, but let's, like, get down to brass tacks here.
Okay.
Like, what are some specific ways that AI is showing up in our daily lives? Like, what are we actually seeing and doing with AI?
Okay, well, think about those voice assistants we were talking about.
Right.
Like Siri and Alexa.
Okay.
When you ask them to do something, it's like natural language processing, NLP, they call it, that allows them to understand what you're saying.
Okay.
And then to respond in a way that, feels natural to us. These systems have been trained on mountains of data so they can, like, understand all the nuances of human language.
And what about, like, Google searches?
Oh, yeah. Good one.
That's using AI, too.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's AI that figures out which results to show you based on what you've searched before.
And, like, where you are and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely. Your location, your search history, all sorts of stuff.
And sometimes it even tries to, like, predict what you're going to type before you finish typing it.
Right. I mean, it's amazing how accurate it can be.
It's kind of creepy, right?
A little bit.
But it's definitely, like, impressive.
It is impressive.
What about all the personalized recommendations? On Netflix, on Spotify, on Amazon.
Yeah.
They're all using AI to, like, figure out what we might want to buy or watch or listen to next.
It's like having a personal shopper. Or a DJ who knows your taste better than you do.
A little scary, but also super convenient, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of convenient, like, Amazon uses AI for everything.
Oh, yeah. They're like the kings of AI.
Right. I mean, from the, like, you might also like suggestions to, like, managing their giant warehouses.
Right.
And, like, preventing fraud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all AI that's making that happen.
It's crazy.
It's mind-blowing how much of it is happening behind the scenes that we don't even realize.
Yeah. It's not just about shopping and entertainment either, right?
No.
AI is starting to, like, make a real difference in much bigger areas, like healthcare.
Absolutely. Healthcare is a huge one.
Yeah.
And it has the potential to, like, really change lives in a big way.
Yeah.
We're talking about using AI to diagnose diseases, analyze medical images.
Oh, wow.
Even predict how patients are going to respond to treatments.
Okay.
It's all about using data to make healthcare better.
So, like, AI could, like, help doctors catch diseases earlier,
Right.
make more accurate diagnoses,
Exactly.
develop better treatments.
That's the goal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're already seeing some really incredible stuff happening. Like
Right.
there are AI algorithms that can look at mammograms and identify potential signs of breast cancer,
Wow.
often like more accurately than human radiologists can.
That's incredible. Early detection is like so important.
It is for so many diseases.
What about drug development? Because
Yeah.
I've heard AI is like really changing the way they're developing new drugs.
Yeah, it's really speeding things up.
Okay.
Traditionally, developing a new drug is this long and expensive process.
Right.
AI can help researchers, find promising drug candidates much faster and more efficiently,
Okay.
which means, life-saving treatments could become available sooner.
Wow, that's amazing. And then of course you've got, self-driving cars,
Right?
which are, they're already on the roads in some places.
Yeah.
It's AI that's allowing these cars to like navigate and make decisions and hopefully make our roads safer.
And it's not just about the cool factor.
Yeah.
Like, think about the people who can't drive themselves, or the potential to, reduce accidents caused by human error.
Yeah, that's huge.
AI could change transportation as we know it.
It's pretty clear that AI is way more than just a bunch of cool gadgets and futuristic tech.
Right.
It's something much bigger than that.
It's about changing, the very fabric of how we live and work and interact with the world around us.
And I think that brings us to the core of why we're doing this deep dive.
Mhm.
It's not just about learning about AI for the sake of learning about AI.
Right.
It's about understanding how AI is already impacting your life and how it might shape the future
Absolutely.
and what that means for all of us.
Exactly. AI is not just something that's happening, out there somewhere.
Yeah,
It's something we're all experiencing right now,
whether we realize it or not.
whether we realize it or not.
And the more we understand it,
Yes.
the better equipped we're going to be to actually navigate this increasingly AI-driven world.
Totally agree.
And I have a feeling that we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot more to uncover.
So stick with us as we continue our deep dive into the world of AI.
Definitely. We've been talking about all the amazing things that AI can do.
Yeah.
And how it's becoming more and more a part of our lives.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that any powerful tool, AI comes with, its own set of potential implications.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. We've seen how AI can do some really incredible things,
Right.
but I imagine there are potential downsides too,
Of course.
or challenges that come with all this progress, right?
Absolutely.
So, what are some of the things that we should be thinking about
Mm.
as AI gets more powerful and more widespread?
Well, I think one of the key things to keep in mind is that
Okay,
AI systems, they learn from the data that they're given.
right?
And so if that data is flawed or biased in some way,
Mm-hmm.
the AI can actually inherit those biases,
Yeah. Oh, okay.
which can lead to, some unintended consequences.
So, if an AI is trained on data that reflects existing societal biases,
Exactly.
it could end up perpetuating those biases in the decisions it makes
Right.
or the predictions that it comes up with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a little concerning.
It is concerning. And it's a reminder that, AI is not inherently objective or neutral.
Right.
It reflects the biases and assumptions of the data it's trained on.
Yeah.
And those biases can have very real world implications.
Okay.
So it's something that researchers and developers are working very hard to address.
Yeah, that makes sense. We need to make sure that the data that's being used to train these systems is as diverse and representative as possible.
Absolutely.
To avoid amplifying existing inequalities or prejudices.
That's the key.
Right.
And it's not just about the data itself, but also about who is actually designing and developing these systems.
Oh.
If the teams that are building AI lack diversity, their own unconscious biases can actually end up in the technology.
So we need more diversity in the tech industry as a whole.
Absolutely.
To make sure that AI is developed with a wider range of perspectives.
Yeah, a wider range of perspectives and experiences, exactly.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So data bias is one thing to watch out for.
Right.
What else should we be thinking about as AI keeps evolving?
Well, another really important consideration is the impact of AI on jobs
Oh, yeah.
and the workforce.
That's a big one.
It is a big one. And, as AI becomes more and more sophisticated, it's capable of automating tasks that were previously done by humans.
Right.
And that, understandably, has some people worried about, the potential for job displacement.
It's easy to imagine like a future where robots and AI systems are doing like a lot of the jobs that people do today. Is that something that we should be like genuinely concerned about?
I mean, it's definitely a valid concern, but I think it's important to remember that throughout history, technological advancements have often led to shifts in the job market.
Right.
They create new opportunities,
Okay.
but they also, make certain types of jobs obsolete.
So instead of thinking about it as AI, like taking over jobs, maybe it's more about AI changing the nature of work.
I think that's a more helpful way to look at it.
Okay.
And creating new types of jobs that, frankly, we can't even imagine yet.
That's a good point.
And I think the key is to be prepared for those changes.
Okay.
And to be adaptable.
Yeah.
We need to focus on reskilling and upskilling the workforce so that people are equipped with the skills they need to actually thrive in an AI-driven economy.
That sounds like a huge challenge.
It is a challenge.
But also a big opportunity.
It's an opportunity as well, exactly.
Right. Like we need to invest in education and training programs that focus on those skills that are going to be in demand in the future.
Right. Things like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity.
Right. Things that machines can't do.
At least not yet.
Right. Not yet.
And it's also about, fostering this mindset of lifelong learning.
Oh.
Because the job market's going to continue to evolve.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's so important for people to be adaptable and willing to learn new things throughout their careers.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not about resisting change, but embracing it and preparing for it.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about data bias. Mm-hmm. We've talked about the impact on jobs. Mm-hmm. Are there any other big picture implications of AI that we should be thinking about?
Well, as AI becomes more, integrated into our lives, it's also raising a lot of questions about privacy.
Oh, yeah.
And data security.
That's a big one.
Because AI systems often rely on, huge amounts of personal data to function effectively.
Right.
And that can be, understandably, a bit unsettling for some people.
Yeah. I mean, we're already sharing so much of our information online.
We are.
And now AI is adding another layer of complexity to all of that.
Exactly. And it's important to have, clear regulations and safeguards in place to protect individual privacy.
Right.
In the age of AI.
Yeah.
We need to be transparent about what data is being collected, how it's being used, and who has access to it.
And individuals need to be empowered to control their own data.
Absolutely. Data ownership and control, those are fundamental rights.
Yeah, you're right.
That need to be respected.
As consumers, we need to be more aware of how our data is being used.
Absolutely.
And demand more transparency from the companies and organizations that are collecting and using it.
I agree.
All right.
It's about finding the right balance, I think, between, harnessing the power of AI and protecting individual privacy.
It seems like with every advancement in technology, we're always having to kind of weigh those trade-offs between convenience and privacy.
Yeah, it's true.
Which one is more important?
But I think the key is to be having these conversations.
Yeah.
To be proactive about addressing these challenges.
Right. We can't just ignore them and hope that they go away.
We can't. Exactly.
Well, this has been a really insightful conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like we've only scratched the surface of the implications of AI.
We have.
But it's clear that there's a lot to think about here.
Very.
As AI continues to evolve, we need to be mindful of those potential challenges and work together to make sure that AI is used for good and benefits, all of humanity.
I agree. AI is such a powerful tool, and it's really up to us to use it wisely and responsibly. We need to be thoughtful and proactive and really engaged in shaping the future of AI so that it reflects our values and helps us create a better world.
Okay, so we've talked about some of the potential downsides and challenges of AI.
Right.
But I'm also curious about the flip side. What are some of the most exciting possibilities?
Yeah.
What problems could AI help us solve in the future?
Well, one area that I'm particularly excited about is healthcare.
Oh, yeah.
I think AI has the potential to revolutionize the way we diagnose, treat, and prevent diseases.
Yeah, we touched on this a little bit earlier, but I'd love to dive a little deeper into that.
Okay. Yeah.
What are some specific ways that AI could change the game in healthcare?
Well, imagine a world where AI can analyze your medical history, your genetic information, your lifestyle factors, and create a personalized health plan
Wow.
just for you.
That's amazing. So instead of having this like one-size-fits-all approach,
Right.
AI could help doctors tailor treatments to each patient's like unique needs.
That's the goal. Exactly.
That's amazing.
It's all about precision medicine.
Okay.
Using data to deliver the most effective treatments with fewer side effects.
And we were talking about, AI's ability to detect diseases earlier. Yeah.
Through like image analysis and things like that.
Right, exactly.
That's huge, right? I mean, like early detection is so important for improving outcomes.
It's critical for so many conditions.
Absolutely.
And AI is also being used to develop, new drugs and therapies at a pace that we've never seen before.
So we could see like new cures
Potentially. Yeah.
and treatments for diseases that are currently considered incurable.
It's definitely possible.
That's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's a very exciting time to be working in this field.
And it's not just about like curing diseases either, right?
Yeah.
AI could also help us like manage chronic conditions more effectively and just like improve our overall well-being.
Right, exactly.
So it's not just healthcare, right?
No.
What about other areas where AI could make a difference?
Well, another area with huge potential is education.
Okay.
AI could help personalize the learning experience for every student. Yeah, I've always thought that the traditional education system with its like one size fits all approach, it doesn't work for everyone. Like, could AI help create a more like individualized and engaging learning experience?
That's the idea.
Okay.
Imagine a world where you have like a virtual tutor.
Right.
That can adapt to each student's pace and learning style.
Okay.
And provide like customized lessons and feedback.
Wow. That would be incredible.
It could really help level the playing field.
Yeah.
And ensure that every student has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
And it could also like free up teachers from some of those like more tedious tasks.
Exactly, like grading.
Yeah, grading.
Give them more time to focus on things like, mentorship and one-on-one instruction.
So it's not about like replacing teachers.
Yeah.
It's about giving them more tools.
Right, empowering them to be more effective.
I like that. So what about like other areas? Like, are there any like big global challenges that you think AI could help us address?
Well, one that comes to mind immediately is environmental conservation.
Okay.
AI can be used to like monitor deforestation, track endangered species, analyze environmental data to help us make better decisions about, how to protect our planet.
Yeah, we've already seen how climate change is like having a real impact on the world.
Devastating impact.
Yeah, like could AI help us like mitigate some of those effects?
Potentially, yeah.
And develop like more sustainable solutions.
That's the hope.
Okay.
AI can help us optimize energy consumption.
Okay.
Reduce waste, develop new technologies that are, more environmentally friendly.
It feels like there's like so much potential for AI to make a positive impact on the world.
I agree.
It's pretty exciting.
And it's not just about solving problems, right?
Right.
AI could also help us like unlock new possibilities, create things that we haven't even imagined yet.
Yeah, that's what's so exciting about this whole field.
It is
that it's constantly like evolving, pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've covered so much ground today from the basics of what AI is to like the potential implications, both positive and negative.
Yeah.
But before we like go any further, I kind of want to shift our focus back to you, the listener.
That's a good idea.
We've been talking about AI in these like kind of broad terms.
Right.
But ultimately what matters most is like how this information resonates with you and how you see AI shaping your own life.
Exactly.
So before we like move on to the next part of our deep dive, I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on the future of AI?
Yeah. What excites you the most? What concerns you the most?
Like take a moment to reflect on everything we've talked about. And consider how you see AI fitting into your own life.
Okay, so I feel like in this deep dive, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Exploring the potential of AI, some of the challenges, the impact it could have.
Right.
It's a lot to think about, but it's important to remember that AI is not some far-off technology.
It's not.
It's here right now.
It's happening.
And it's shaping our lives in ways we probably don't even realize.
think about it. I mean, from the moment your phone unlocks with, facial recognition
Right.
to those personalized recommendations you get on Spotify or Netflix, AI is working behind the scenes. It's already influencing our decisions and experiences.
It's everywhere. It's become so integrated that we don't even stop to think about it.
Right.
But I think the more aware we are of its presence,
absolutely,
the better we'll be able to navigate this world that's changing so quickly.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not just about understanding like the technical details of how it works.
Right. It's about being active participants in shaping how it's used.
Right.
Asking questions, demanding transparency, making sure that it's being used for good.
It's about taking ownership of our role in this AI-driven future.
Right. It's not just something that's happening to us.
Yeah.
It's something we're all creating together.
I like that it's a collaborative effort.
Yeah.
It requires us to be informed, to be engaged. So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Like we've explored the potential, the challenges, the impact.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway for you, for the listener?
I think the most important thing is to approach AI with curiosity and critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just accept everything at face value.
Right.
Dig a little deeper, ask questions.
Okay.
Challenge the assumptions.
And remember that AI is a tool.
It is.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for not so good. It's up to us to guide its development and use it in a way that aligns with our values.
That's a good point. I mean, AI is not some independent force that's going to decide our destiny.
Right.
It's something we have the power to shape.
And that's why it's so important to be a part of this conversation.
Exactly.
The future of AI is not predetermined. It's something we're all creating together.
Keep exploring, keep learning, keep questioning.
Yeah.
The more informed and engaged we are, the better we'll be to navigate this new world.
Well said. This deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
I hope so.
And I hope it sparks some curiosity for our listeners and a desire to learn more.
The world of AI is constantly changing. So I'm sure we'll be having many more fascinating discussions and insights as we continue to explore this amazing technology.
Until next time, this has been The Deep Dive.